Those goofy fibs are at it again. You are never going to believe what they decided to do. And now the most important thing you need to understand is that though I am a Hoover, my first name is not Matthew, and I get a small fraction of the views that he gets, so I rely on merch sales to fund this channel. So if you want to help support this channel directly, shop at onlytacticalfams.com and get you your very own PVC free CRS patch to show your support in this ongoing battle with the ATF. So thank you guys so much. That being said, let's talk about Illinois for a few. The Illinois Supreme Court has upheld the state's ban on the sale of possession of semi-automatic weapons. This is insane for multiple reasons. Number one, the Miller decision. In Miller, they declared that any weapon that is in common use in the military is protected by the Second Amendment. Two, we're talking about semi-automatic weapons here. They've been in use in this country since the 1800s. They've been around damn near as long as the Second Amendment itself. It only had like a 100-year head start. And remember that the Second Amendment was never about hunting, sport shooting, or anything of the sort. The spirit of the Second Amendment has always been to make sure that we the people, we stay in control of the government and to ensure that we have equal or better arraignments. In a recent 4-3 decision, the High Court of Illinois found that the Protect Our Communities Act does not violate the United States constitutional guarantee of equal protection under the 14th Amendment, and also that it doesn't violate their state laws bearing special litigations. So, let me explain this in English. They are saying that your rights end where someone else's safety begins. The court has also decided that the group bringing the lawsuit, led by an Illinois state representative, had earlier waived their claims that the law infringes on their Second Amendment right to own firearms and that they could not raise it before the state Supreme Court. But their attorney says that without a doubt, they never waived that claim. So, they're playing dirty to get their way. Hey, you waived that claim. No, hell no, we did not. But you see who won. The Second Amendment claim is alive. However, in several other federal lawsuits that have been filed in southern Illinois that were grouped together and are still waiting on appeals court action. Since Washington State adopted a similar law in April, there are now 10 states plus DC that have bans on semi-automatic weapons. Dude, why are we even having to talk about this shit? Like, how crazy is that? Like, does anyone, like, what? Oh my gosh. Now we need to talk about that for a second. We're looking at 1/5 of the country here because there are 50 states and 10 goes into 50 5 times. Those states have limited their citizens to a bastardized version of the Second Amendment that now says basically shall be infringed if enough people cry about it. This is troubling because the Constitution is the very fabric of what this country is made of. My interpretation of the Constitution is that as long as I'm not hurting anyone, don't try to force your beliefs on me. I also clearly believe that that was the underlying message that our founding fathers had in mind when they drafted the Constitution. Illinois new law bans dozens of specific brands or types of rifles and handguns, including 50 caliber guns, attachments, and any rapid firing device. Also, no rifle is allowed that can hold more than 10 rounds with a 15 round limit on handguns. The most popular gun specifically targeted is the AR-15, even though at least 25 million Americans own them. And the people that are going against us own them too. Like, it does make exceptions. Those that had semi-automatic weapons before it became effective January 10th are allowed to keep them. But they have to now register them with the state police by January 1st, 2024. There are also 7 categories of trained professionals, like police, active duty military, correctional officers and qualified security guards that can still carry them. I don't know about you, but that sure seems like, to me, like a direct violation of the 14th Amendment we talked about earlier. But believe it or not, one of the justices actually has his head screwed on right on this issue. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. Backed by the 2022 U.S. Supreme Court case that determined that Americans have a right to carry weapons in public for self-defense, the state representative that filed this suit says that the plaintiffs and those granted exemptions to the ban are similarly situated in that they all have the required firearm owners' identification cards and are protected by the Second Amendment, but they weren't granted equal protection of the law when the ban was applied to them. One of the justices in a written opinion says that in the case of grandfathered gun owners, there is no different treatment. The exact quote is, "The Equal Protection Clause guarantees that similarly situated individuals will be treated in a similar manner unless the government can demonstrate an appropriate reason to treat those individuals differently." The Equal Protection Clause does not forbid the legislator from drawing distinctions in legislation among different categories of people as long as the legislator does not draw those distinctions based on criteria unrelated to the legislative purpose. The group that brought this suit said that further legal action is coming, possibly including an appeal to the United States Supreme Court. Illinois Democratic governor signed the bill just hours after lawmakers sent it to him in January. This new law set off a firestorm of outrage and criticism from the gun rights activists, including all the state's county sheriffs, who were nearly anonymous in signing a statement that they wouldn't really enforce this law. Can I just speak on this for a second here? Two things you need to know. One, Illinois is lucky to have that kind of support because it shows a couple of things. The main one being that the people that agree with this are actually in the minority, and that the people that oppose it go all the way up to and including state lawmakers and state police officers. Two, don't count on this to save you in the event that they find out you have these banned weapons and haven't registered them, and this law does not get removed. Maybe not next year, maybe not even 10 years from now. Hell, maybe not even in your lifetime. But at some point, the hammer will meet the steel. And maybe that hammer will drop on your children, so don't use the state's police opposition to this law as an excuse to be complacent. Instead, use that as a motivation to fight this passionately until it is removed. Their governor says that this will keep what he called mass killing machines off the streets and will help their citizens feel safe as they go about their everyday lives. Now let's talk about Governor Captain Comey and his ideas about what he's trying to accomplish. Can someone say logic fallacy? If this was such a brilliant idea in practice and not just on paper, why not just legislate murder or drugs and single-handedly make Illinois no longer a shithole? Oh yeah, that's right, they did, but that shit still happens every day all over the state, and Illinois is still a shithole. Now that we've established that murder is in fact illegal, I think it is safe to say that the penalty for murder is probably slightly more severe than whatever random ass penalty they've applied to America's rifles, the AR-15. So, if they're willing to ignore the more severe penalty for murder, it's safe to say that his new gun laws will do nothing, except for incarcerate a bunch of people that are doing exactly what they're allowed to in their God-given birthright as Americans. And since we know that the American prison system is mostly black, and this law will have a disproportionate effect on black people, I think the Governor Captain Comey is clearly a diehard racist. The court's fifth Democratic dissented, deciding that the law is an illegal special legislation that gives some of those accepted groups, like retired law enforcement officers, for example, rights to the weapons without rationale that the plaintiffs don't have. And this is one of the most telling parts. A Democratic justice, I'll say that one more time, a Democratic justice dissented against this law. The court's two Republicans filed a separate dissent. They found that lawmakers so blatantly violated the constitutional procedures put in place just for approving new legislation that it made the law unconstitutional, eliminating the need to even speak on the firearms restrictions at the issue in the appeal. One of them said that even as important as this case is, constitutionally embedded process matters, and the way they pass laws have to follow this process, which this law clearly does not. So, what's my opinion on all of this? Because that's why you guys are here, isn't it? To see me. My opinion is that while this does suck balls for a little while for those fibs, their sacrifices will net fruit. I believe that what's going to happen is that they'll force the United States Supreme Court hand to make a landmark gun rights decision, and it will be big. Something on the order of protecting the AR-15s or other semi-automatic rifles by name. But we'll have to wait and see because it's likely to be years down the road. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I appreciate you guys always watching me and supporting me and my family. And if you'd like to continue to support, shop at onlytacticalfans.com. And also there's like donation things that you can donate down below and Amazon links and yeah, all that fun stuff down below in the description. So check that out. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace. Poppy, stop. Oh, Chunkalicious. This is the Chunkalicious. You don't look so happy. Look at her. She's so cute. See ya. What is that noise? Seriously? Oh, Poppy, you're a character. On cat food, because this is how I pay for it, alright? Don't you think about it? Okay. What are you looking at? Don't even think about going up there, okay? Arraignments. Arraignments. Ow! You kitties are... What was that?
Call from Matt. I miss you, love you too.
I know, I miss and love you too.